Welcome to Hockey Nights in Vegas, episode 85. My name is Eddie Rivkin. I'm joined as always by Chris Chapman of Fox Sports Las Vegas and the Golden Knights pre- and post-game show. This episode, like all others, is brought to you by the Las Vegas Advisor, www.lasvegasadvisor.com, and by Dr. John Pierce, my good friend at Ageless Forever, www.agelessforever.net.
And by Marathon Law Group, where I'm actually at recording this episode, marathonlawgroup.com. They specialize in personal injury, family law, including divorce, child support, custody, adoption, alimony, and prenuptial agreements. Come see Joe Riccio. He's my lawyer. He should be yours.
Well, chap, before we get down to the business at hand, as the greatest podcast in the history of the Vegas Golden Knights, let's talk about free
worth listening
tickets.
to.
Let's talk about free tickets. Dr. John Pierce, my very good friend that you've heard me talk about, he's getting hitched Saturday night. Not only is he getting hitched Saturday night, I'm officiating his wedding. But that leaves his tickets to the Golden Knights versus the Utah Hockey Club up for grabs. That's right. We thought the first ticket giveaway would be a little bit down the road against Carolina, but nope. The first ticket giveaway is this Saturday night, November 2nd, 7 p.m. Puck drop against the Utah Hockey Club. 2 lower bowl tickets, 2 buffet passes to the Goose Island Lounge, which is on the suite level, level 3.
You and I
if you
have
haven't been up there,
it's pretty fucking awesome.
It's pretty fucking good food. This is
It's
not
swanky.
your average downtown Las Vegas buffet.
Yeah, this
Free
isn't a
tickets.
bullshit. Yeah.
Free tickets, buffet. Here's what you got to do. You got to go to the Hockey Nights in Vegas site on YouTube, where you're probably watching this video. You need to subscribe. You need to like an episode. Any one of them, last couple 3. You need to comment the word tickets. That's it. 3 clicks gets you a $500 price package in 4 days. We're recording this on Tuesday. Saturday night, Utah, 7 o'clock puck drop. Subscribe, like, comment the word tickets. The drawing will be held 5 p.m. Friday afternoon. We'll let the winner notify the winner, rather, by email or a message on Facebook. Somehow we'll get the word to them. You need to have an Access account so we can electronically transfer you the tickets. So the first of many, it seems like, ticket giveaways is this Saturday. When's the second, chap?
It's Saturday night.
When's the second ticket giveaway?
Oh,
Oh, Jesus
I thought you said
Christ,
when's
Tom.
the
Can you clean this fucking mess up, Tom? Okay,
So-
let's try again. Hey, chap, when's the second ticket giveaway?
So it's Veterans Day, November the 11th. William Carrier and his Carolina Hurricanes. By the way, William Carrier scored a goal last night against Vancouver. But nonetheless, they come to town November 11th. This ticket giveaway courtesy of Joe Riccio and Marathon Law Group. Listen, our sponsors fucking deliver, man. Like, you could listen to a podcast and their sponsors may tell you to go eat at this restaurant or go subscribe to this. We fucking make it worth your time because we're giving you good shit. No other podcast delivers like this one. And listen, not only will you get tickets to the Carolina Hurricane game on Monday, November the 11th, you get free parking at the Park MGM parking garage, which is literally right across the street from T-Mobile Arena. And you're going to get dinner with Eddie. He's going to buy you pizza and a salad.
Uh-oh. We have bad news.
Oh, shit. No dinner with you?
No, we're still having dinner.
Oh, okay.
But Metro Pizza is closed on Mondays.
Oh.
Denied.
So instead, I think that dinner will be at Chap and I's favorite Mexican restaurant, Juan's Flaming Fajitas.
Ooh.
How about a delicious Mexican restaurant to go with your lower bowl tickets and free parking?
Wow. I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's really awesome. And listen, I like both places. Listen, it sounds silly, but the salad dressing, the homemade Italian dressing at Metro Pizza is awesome. But I live very close to Juan's. I could walk there. That's how close I live. I've been there many, many times. It's so fucking good. Like, it's really good. Every time we go, it's packed. It's well worth the liking and subscribing and commenting and listen to our fucking podcast too. Don't be like, oh, I'm just gonna try to get the tickets, because we're in the locker room. You and I are at every single game. We're in the locker room every single night after every game. We are at practice. A lot of those guys, they don't even show up. Like, they just tell you what they see on TV. We're giving you the best information. We're in the room with the guys, and we're giving you tickets to games. So, I mean, why would you not want to listen to this podcast? If you're a Golden Knights fan, I hate to pump our own tires. Actually, who am I kidding? I love pumping our own tires. I'm not going to pump someone else's tires. I'll pump our own. We deliver. And you know what? And we don't hold back. There's no bullshit. And I got news that it does appear that we will have a player coming up soon. I don't know exactly when, but it sounds like we did get the okay. We will have a player. We've put in some requests, and we think, regardless of who it is, you'll enjoy it, because all these guys are pretty good to talk to. But I talked to our guy, our contact, our the head honcho that we need to speak with, and he sounded like he was on board with it, and it's a good idea. So listen, I don't know how many other podcasts are doing that either. So we'll get you the best of the best. And speaking of the best, Eddie, 4-game road trip. Yep. Golden Knights improved to 7-0 after just kicking the shit out of the Calgary Flames last night. I mean, it was close it's weird. It was close on the scoreboard, but I think it was a really dominant effort by the Golden Knights last night. 4-game homestand culminates with a 5-0 victory over the Calgary Flames, off the heels of a 7-3 victory over the San Jose Sharks. Listen, this team, 7-0 at home. They're getting ready to play a one-off in Los Angeles on Wednesday night. We'll start by asking you, is this team ever going to lose a game at home? And I know it sounds like a bullshit question, but the way these guys play at home, I'm kind of half jokingly asking you, are they going to win like 35 games at home?
Well, there's something to be said for home cooking. And I think that the team, the coaches, they talk to us and they say sometimes we like to take the season and break it up into 10-game blocks. Some prefer 20-game blocks. Bruce, a couple games ago, said 12. And that was kind of unusual. And so there's a couple more games, but here's the big takeaway from the homestand. On episode 84, we talked about six points out of 8 was the bare minimum, but 7 or 8 is not out of the question. And they certainly sort of proved us right. So we're kind of 2-1 on the predictions. 24 goals during the homestand. 39 goals for, 16 goals against in the 7 home wins. Now, I ain't that good at math, I'll have you know, but 7 times 5 is 35, and then you add another 4. They're averaging close to 5.5 goals at home. That's not going to last, folks. There's going to be a little bit of a regression. But more importantly, their goals against is going down a little bit. This homestand was as close to, I think, the identity that Bruce Cassidy wants for this year's lineup as we're probably going to see. Yes, they're going to lose games. Are they going to have a Colorado Avalanche kind of home season? Probably not. The Golden Knights are notorious for losing a couple of games out of just pure disinterest. They seem to do that every year. But I don't think it's unreasonable at all for an .800 winning percentage in the 41 home games. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. What do you think, chap?
Well, you talked about the goals. 6 against Ottawa, 6 against Los Angeles, 7 against San Jose, 5 against Calgary last night. The funny thing is, that's not even the most goals that they've scored this season at home. They scored 8 in the opener against the Avalanche. So it's kind of funny. The game that they scored the least amount of goals was against the Ducks. They scored 3 at home against the Ducks. the third game of the season. But yeah, I don't think they're going to go unbeaten at home. Obviously, I was half-heartedly joking when I said that, but I think what we're seeing is this team has made it an emphasis to win games at home. And I think they were disappointed with the way that they played down the stretch last year. They lost to shit teams at home with the season on the line.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily, but with important games, they were losing them to bad teams.
Well,
They lost to
playoff positioning was
Yeah,
on the line, and eventually what got them Dallas in the first round.
Yeah, I mean they went into this the final few games needing, all right, we beat at Chicago or Anaheim, and we'll end up as the 7 seed. We'll play Edmonton, and we'll feel really good about playing those guys. It didn't work out, and you mentioned the disinterested aspect of it, and I'm sure there'll be a game or two, maybe someone like I don't know. St. Louis will come in here, and the Golden Knights are superior to St. Louis, but maybe the Blues will play a really good game, and they'll end up winning 4-2 or something like that. Or maybe Seattle comes in here one night and beats them. But I think when you look at the fact that this team takes a lot of pride in playing well in front of their fans, I don't think, as you said, an 800 win percentage at home is out of the question. I mean, that's probably what you want if you're going to be a competitor for the Stanley Cup. You want teams to fear coming into your building and playing. In the early renditions of this franchise, teams did not come in here and win. Obviously, as you become a more and more seasoned team and the quote Vegas flu wears off and teams aren't as intimidated, but I think the Golden Knights want to make it an intimidating place to play. The entertainment portion of it, it's loud. They have a lot of really interesting things that go on during breaks and intermissions. And I think all of that goes with being a dominant team at home. I mean, you and I were in New Jersey last year. We both went to the Rock. The atmosphere was dead. There was nothing.
Same thing on the island.
On the island. Now, the Rangers, they bust out the opera singer to do the national anthem, and that gets the crowd going. But I've been to games at Anaheim, and it's pretty boring in the breaks. And I understand from a pure hockey standpoint, that's not what you want. But I think that stuff goes a long way in terms of getting the crowd into the game. And ultimately, how you play is going to determine how into the game the fans are. But when it's a close game and you've got those little cartoons or scenes from a movie saying make noise, or the new thing they have now is the THX when you're at the movies.
Yeah, the Dolby thing. Yeah.
The Dolby, and it says VGK instead of THX. Like that really, like fans get into that. And I think the players, I feel like they kind of, I don't want to say they thrive off of it, but they could feel that energy. Last night, it was a really interesting game. And I want to ask you before we get too far into it, because we had the game last night with Keegan Colasar's 2 goals. Nick Waugh had a goal and a couple of assists. Cole Schwint had a 2-point night. Are the Vegas Golden Knights back to having the best fourth line in the NHL with a kid that we didn't even know who he was prior to October 9th?
I don't know if it's quite the best fourth line in the NHL right now, but I can tell you that in the little bit of line juggling where we've seen people moving up and down the lineup, they're pretty close. I mean, if Howden has to go down the lineup, Howden's having a career year scoring goals.
Yeah.
The thing that makes this different, I think, than fourth lines in the past. In the first year, it was Ryan Reeves or it was Carrier, it was the meat grinders, right? And they were not counted on at all for offense. It appears that issue that we had talked about at the beginning and have talked about actually in every episode, secondary scoring, it seems like the fourth line, I don't want to say will be counted on for scoring, but I think the message that Bruce Cassidy is sending to the NHL by the way the team is playing and the fact that Keegan Colasar changed his stick to the Jack Eichel curve and is suddenly scoring goals at a rampant pace. We always known that Nick Waugh has the hands. He's played up the lineup as high up as the second line. The third player, whether it be Schwint or somebody else, if you're the opposing coach, you can no longer just say they're no threat to score.
Right.
So normally, if you're on the road and you have the first change, not the last change, if Bruce Cassidy puts out the fourth line, Edmonton will put out Draisaitl or McDavid, right? The team will try to match up their best line against the Golden Knights' fourth line. Well, now the fourth line has proven that they can score goals. So that has really neutralized a lot of the perceived advantage of the last change. And Bruce said it last night after the game. We don't chase matchups.
Right.
He's like, fuck it. We're going to play the game the way we want to play the game. We have confidence 1 through 12 on the front line, 1 through 6 on the D, and both goalies. So you're going to have to deal with us. That's a wonderful luxury to have, where you can play the game on your terms, whether it be home or away. So to answer your question, maybe not the best line of the fourth line in the NHL right now, but certainly a fourth line that is going to be reckoned with, that other teams are going to have to force and adjust how they play against the Golden Knights' fourth line. Because if they're a threat to score and they start taking even a few more offensive zone faceoffs, that is, that's bullying. They're starting to bully people. And we saw that in this homestand. We wondered, what was their motivation going to be? 3 games that were absolutely winnable, and a team at the time when we talked about Calgary that was basically undefeated.
Yeah.
And we both sort of suspected they were playing above the norm. But the Golden Knights, when they got a lead, stepped on the throat. That's what they didn't do in the 3-game. They blew 6 1-goal leads on the 3-game road trip through Washington and the Floridas. This time, they got ahead and they stepped on the opposition's throat, and they were never a game. I mean, we sat there and watched the Sharks game, and they scored 3 goals in the first period, and we're like, fuck this, we should just go home.
It's over.
This is
Yeah,
an
it's done.
absolute. I mean, if this was professional soccer, San Jose should be relegated.
Yeah, the way. Yeah, well, they might want to put them in the AHL with how bad they are. Their AHL affiliate might actually have the better goalie than the parent club. But I think in keeping with the talking about the fourth line, it seems so obvious, but it's such an advantage to have a dominant fourth line.
Yeah.
And I think, it's ridiculous to think that Keegan Colasar is going to score 2 goals every game, or, these guys may go 4 or 5 games without scoring a goal. But what they do is they contribute. And as you mentioned, getting those offensive zone faceoffs, what that means is the opposing team has to work harder to score a goal. And I think there was a play that Nick Waugh made last night. First of all, Cole Schwindt's pass on Colasar's first goal was, for a kid who's only played 14 or 15 NHL games, it was a veteran play. It was, and Bruce talked about he's a cerebral player. Like, that was the quote. He said he's a cerebral player. It was a high IQ play. It was executed perfectly. It was a pass right to the tape of Colasar, who absolutely ripped it by Dan Vladar. And then the second Colasar goal, it was a great defensive play by Nick Waugh to intercept the pass. Again, another tape-to-tape pass. Like, sometimes fourth lines, you look at them, and sure, these guys are all NHL players, but sometimes they're a bit clunky. They don't execute to perfection the way the fourth line did last night. It's the passing. Like, they had a play against San Jose? I think it was Howden's goal against San Jose. They connected like 4 or 5 passes in a row that were tape-to-tape passes. And you're watching this team, and it's like playing a video game, the way they connected to score that Howden goal. But Eddie, I'm going to answer my own question. I agree with you. I don't think they're the best fourth line in the NHL, but they're really damn good. And when you have a first line that's as good as Eichel, Barbashev, and Stone, I think having that fourth line as good as they are. I mean, you and I talked about we've talked about it, and with Barbashev and that top line, they don't have a McDavid or a Draisaitl, but Jack Eichel is fucking phenomenal. Like, you watch him play, and I think what separates Eichel from not just those guys, but Austin Matthews, he's a bit more like Sidney Crosby than he is Connor McDavid. He's a 200-foot guy. And I think a player like him, who is in the elite of the elite players, we agree he's top 10, 15 player in the entire world. I mean, that's how good Jack Eichel is. And we're lucky we get to go watch him 41 nights a year if we go on the road a little more. But when you have a guy, and I've always believed this, and I know, people have their opinions on Sid, but when you have a guy who's as good offensively as Sidney Crosby is, who's willing to put the work in at the defensive end, there's a reason why the Penguins have won 3 Stanley Cups in Sidney Crosby's tenure. It's because when you're watching an elite player like that, willing to do the work, if you're a role player, I believe it makes you work just a little bit harder, because when you're seeing the star players, the Golden Knights, certainly Mark Stone fits the bill as well. When you're watching the captain put in the hard work to get back into plays, to make plays with the stick defensively, you're that role guy, and you're saying, wait a minute, if these guys are doing that, well, who the fuck am I to not do that? It's a lead by example thing, and it resonates. And the fourth line is a perfect example of hard work. Nobody's going to ever confuse Keegan Colasar with an elite scoring forward, but he's got a pretty damn good shot. But Keegan Colasar was a guy who knew early in his career, if he was going to make it in the NHL, he needed to, because he scored 20 goals in the AHL with the Chicago Wolves one year. But that doesn't always resonate to the NHL. What does resonate is back check, forecheck, being involved in the play defensively, understanding your role. And to me, Keegan Colasar, we've heard he's become a more vocal leader in the locker room, but he leads by example on the ice too. And I just love that about him. I love that about Nick Waugh. Nick Waugh, personality-wise, has really kind of come out of his shell. He's funny, but he's another lead by example guy. And I believe it starts at the top with this organization. Every player is going to put in the work.
So in the earlier episode, we talked about who is going to have the career year, right? Last year, a couple guys had career numbers, goals, William Carrier, Amadio. Are you willing to say that this year, the breakout scoring people are going to be Keegan Colasar, Nick Waugh, and Brett Howden? How's that for your 3-pack of we never saw this coming? They're going to get career highs in goals.
I figured the ceiling with Keegan Colasar was about 7 or 8. That's his career high. I believe 8 goals is his career high.
How's 12? You like 12?
I think he gets to double digits. Yeah, I think he gets to double digits.
Okay. How about Nick Waugh?
I don't know what his career high is. I'm going to look it up. I think Howden's career high is 9.
I think that's correct.
He's
got 5.
Yeah. Nick Waugh has 57 career goals. His high is 15, which he did in 78 games in the 21-22 season. I think that's right around where he's at. I think he's about a 15-goal guy.
Okay.
Brett Howden playing with who he's playing with, I think, there's a real opportunity there for him to move up his career high list. I think he gets double digits as well. Like I wonder if he can get to 15. Like if you get 15 goals from Brett Howden, you get 12 goals from Keegan Colasar. And I think you and I are both big believers that Pavel Dorofeyev is going over 20 goals. That doesn't even factor in what Barbashev has been doing. I'm not going to say Marsha Sohu because that's a disservice and it's a diss, and I'm not going there.
Yeah.
But it just goes with what this team does. They find guys who step up because it's a winning culture
Every year.
Every year. It's an organizational thing. Like Cole Schwint, I don't know how many goals he's going to score. He may not score. He may score 3 or 4. But this was a guy who was he was in the AHL with Calgary. He comes in last night. He's a young kid. He doesn't get too amped up to play his old team. He knows guys on the other side. He just goes out there and he does his thing. He does what he's asked.
Which team was the slogan was just do your job.
Yeah, I don't remember who that was, but
you remember it was like on a sweatshirt, one playoff. I can't, somebody will comment who it was, but that's it. It's just do your job. So before, I want to talk about some more players, but before we get into the players that have shown something significantly different from last season, that's sort of how we'll preface where we're going. Let's get a quick word in from Dr. John Pierce at agelessforever.net. So if there's a little bit too much whip in the shaft of your hockey stick and you want to be able to hit the back of the net, here's your answer, but I'm not going to tell you anything about it because I'm going to let my good friend Dr. Pierce tell you exactly what this bad boy is, and prepare to be amazed.
This is the Phoenix Pro. This is a home unit to deliver extracorporeal, I call it sound wave therapy. The technical term is shock wave therapy.
Here's where we get to the fun stuff, kids.
Right? And they applied it to their genitalia, and they found that, yes, indeed, it improves blood flow. We talk about, male genitalia. What is an erection? It is a blood flow issue. So if you're having issues and you've gone to see your doctor, you've had your testosterone balanced, and you're doing those things, and it's working great. If you're finding that you're using a medication like Viagra, Cialis, something like that, and you're finding less and less effect, that means that the blood flow isn't as good. Something like this can help to mitigate that issue.
So let me break this down for you in layman's terms. If your junk is more like a pool noodle than a pool cue, it's going to make your junk hard. Dr. John Pierce, Ageless Forever, www.agelessforever.net. Don't be shy. Send a message. The first consultation is free. You'll meet with Dr. Pierce personally. You'll have the ability to share whatever it is you want to share. This bad boy works. So, something for you to think about. www.agelessforever.net. Send a message, take advantage of the free consultation, and let's get you to be the best you can be. So what I want to talk about now is health. We've talked about health ad nauseum. We're not going to go into the Mark Stone LTIR bullshit, blah, 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 whatever. But I want to talk to you about the difference specifically in 2 players. This year, yes, small sample size, 10 games. Alex Pietrangelo. I can say with absolute certainty now, after watching Alex Pietrangelo first 10 games this season, he played hurt all last year. I guarantee they'll never tell us. Folks, I'm sorry, they will never tell us. I'll ask him directly to his face and he'll talk about his golf swing. Okay? If you see Alex Pietrangelo is playing like the Alex Pietrangelo who was the captain of the St. Louis Blues and hoisted the Stanley Cup for the first time. And in my professional opinion, not professional, in my opinion, the only reason that is is because of the long summer. He had a chance to get healthy. This is the Alex Pietrangelo that they signed to that massive 8 years, 64 or whatever the hell $1 million deals it was. He looks like the legitimate number one defenseman that we traded for. He struggled last year. He had to take a boatload of extra minutes because the D line was decimated by injury. He looks fantastic. The second player I want to talk to happens to be leading the NHL in scoring, and that's Mark Stone. He looks faster. He looks fresher. When we see him in the locker room after the game, and okay, girls, yes, they stand there in their skivvies. He looks fitter than we've ever seen him before, and it shows on the ice. He's still the same incredibly talented 200-foot player that he's been since forever. But the long summer, a full-time summer training regimen, but most importantly, rest. Mark Stone is a beast. And when you're a beast and you're getting fed by Jack Eichel, arguably a top 10 player in the NHL, and you've got Ivan Barbashev who's willing to do the work and go get the pucks and retrieve the pucks in the corner and cause disruption in a team's defensive system, that line is poised to just put up astronomical numbers. You asked me in the last episode, what's the ceiling on Barbashev's scoring this year? There isn't one. If that line stays healthy and say they play, I don't know, 75 games together, right?
He may score 40 goals.
I think 40 is way, way within, right?
The way he's going? Yeah.
Yeah. And
he's got a goal a game at home.
Right?
I mean, well, they play 10 games. He's got 7 goals.
I mean, I think that line is arguably one of the best lines in the NHL. But tell me what your take is on, I don't know, pick one or two players, or tell me I'm out of my mind talking about Pietrangelo. But this team is different. And I think that the reason it's different was because of the long summer.
Well, I think it helps. And when you say long, I mean, it was really long. It's not like they lost in the Western Conference Finals, and they lost in the first round. So that's obviously a very shitty summer for a lot of these guys. But I think Mark Stone slimmed down. Like, he definitely looks like he lost weight. It makes a difference, because he's never been the most fleet of foot skater. But I think when you take a few pounds off, you get a little stronger. I mean, he as you mentioned, he looks like he's put on some muscle, but he's slimmed down. The other thing is with Pietrangelo, he's got 12 points in 10 games. I mean, that's pretty fucking good.
And only one goal.
Yeah, but I don't care. I don't need Alex Pietrangelo to score goals. I like Alex Pietrangelo distributing the puck.
Yep.
And
I agree.
He's a guy who I think, I never really know what we think of him going into a season. Is this the year that he slows down, or he's showing no signs of that? Like,
this
Alex
is the year he
Pietrangelo
speeds up.
Yeah, like somehow he seems to have gotten better. And it defies, I guess, Mother Nature that he's
Father
better.
Time, not
Father
Mother
Time.
Nature.
That's the same shit.
Mother Nature's, she don't know nothing about fucking hockey.
She's
Sorry,
undefeated.
Mother Nature. Didn't mean to insult you. Don't
Mother
make it rain on us.
Mother Nature's undefeated. She doesn't ever lose. But yeah, it's Father Time. So I've been really impressed with Pietrangelo because the goal he had last night was really damn good, but set up by Carlson, Holtz. But the screen that Tanner Pearson set in front of Dan Vladar, there was zero chance Vladar was saving that.
And that's saying something, because Dan Vladar is like 7'9".
Yeah, he's not a small guy.
He's gigantic. He's really 6'6".
Yeah, but I think, I want to go back to Brett Howden as far as health, because he's a guy who everyone, I think no one really knew what to expect, and he suffered that really, really scary injury a few years ago. He ended up missing the remainder of the season. I believe it was the year they missed the playoffs. But he looks good. Like he looks like he's gotten a little faster.
He's got some jump. He's got a different kind of jump this year for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's noticeable. I don't think. I mean, you're never going to go through the full season where everybody plays, and the Golden Knights are yet to play a game. Well, did they do it Saturday? Did Nick Hague play on Saturday? I don't remember.
He was hurt on Saturday.
So he did play. So that's the only game where they've played with their A lineup.
Oh no, you know what? He didn't play. He was hurt the game before. Korzak's played the last two.
Yeah, so
he was hurt against San Jose.
So they still haven't played a game with their A lineup. Carlson comes out, Carlson comes in, Nick Hague gets hurt. Health is obviously the most important thing for this team. And so far, the guys who need to be healthy are healthy. Now, I'm sure at some point you're going to have someone important miss 10, 12 games. It happens. Everyone goes through it. Edmonton might go through that right now because McDavid left last night's game and he flew to Nashville with the team, and then they chartered a flight for him to fly back to Edmonton. So, it's a fact of life in the NHL. But as long as Mark Stone is healthy and Jack Eichel is healthy, that top line is really, really good. And it's not a knock on Barbashev, but I think Barbashev is the beneficiary of playing with those guys. But Barbashev has earned that because of his history of producing with Jack Eichel.
He's more than earned his ice.
Like he's a fucking really good, and I love him. I call him a bastard because he plays like a bastard, and I fucking love it. He's such an underrated player. And I knew he won a Stanley Cup with St. Louis. I didn't really know. Like, he's one of those guys that you're aware of, but I don't think you realize how good of a player he is until you see him night in, night out. And Ivan Barbashev is a really good player, and he's been.
We didn't know how good Ivan Barbashev was as a player because we never saw it in St. Louis. He was buried down on the fourth line.
Yeah.
He was almost, if you want to draw an almost parallel, he was almost like Chandler Stevenson in Washington.
And maybe
kind of buried.
And maybe even a bit overshadowed by Vladimir Tarasenko.
Sure. For sure.
But at this stage, I know who I'd rather have.
Oh, without a doubt.
And it's not a knock on Tanner Tarasenko. He's still a good player. He produces, but Ivan Barbashev just he's got that something. And I hope he keeps producing the way he is, because I think it would be amazing for him to be, well, there's no All-Star game this year, but I start to think about some of these guys who will not be playing for 2 weeks. And I know that's way down the road, but the season's kind of goofy, and the health is going to be really, really important, especially after that Four Nations face-off, when you've got 20 games left and you're condensing it into a 6-week period. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous how intense the final stretch of the season is going to be. And for the Golden Knights, what I think is a real benefit to them is they're not going to have a ton of guys participating in that thing. Like Eichel.
Who cares about that stupid tournament?
But
it's not till February.
No, but it's a benefit in that you won't have to worry about guys putting extra wear and tear on their body.
We got 2 more topics, but before we get that, we better get a word in from Chapman's lawyer, Joe Riccio.
I'm here with Joe Riccio from Marathon Law Group, and if you've listened to this podcast or watched it on YouTube or wherever, you've heard me say many, many times that Joe is my lawyer. He's been my lawyer for a decade, and there's a reason. It's because he's really good at what he does. But Joe, if someone is unhappy with their lawyer, what kinds of steps can they take to maybe fix that situation?
Well, Chris, great question. Definitely seek a second opinion by someone who's experienced in that area of law. Here at Marathon Law Group, we, as you know, do personal injury and family law matters. Been doing them for close to 17 years on the family law side, 10 years on the personal injury side, and we will offer a free second opinion or consultation to anyone that mentions the podcast. If they're unhappy with their lawyer and give them a second opinion.
And what are some of the common complaints that you hear when people come in for those second opinions?
Believe it or not, the most common complaint we get is not that I didn't get enough money or not that I didn't get enough time with my children. The most common complaint we get is they didn't hear from their lawyer, or they don't know what's going on in their case, or they don't know why the lawyer did something that they did in their case. And so one of the things I can tell you with us is communication is a big deal for our law firm. For me personally, it's the most common complaint lawyers get at the state bar for not communicating with their clients. Here at Marathon, we make a strong effort to get back to our clients the same day or within 24 hours to educate them, like we did with you in your case, along the way, so you know what's going on in the process, why you're doing it, and what the expectation should be.
So in the last episode, I was pretty hard on Aiden Hill. I don't think I was excessively hard on Aiden Hill because, frankly, if you asked him, he would tell you that his performance was not up to his standard. He said as much last night after the game. We had a rare goalie visit, really rare goalie visit. He said he was working on some stuff. Now, admittedly, last night was, I guess you'd probably call it light work. 16 shots by the Calgary Flames. We watched the whole game. I don't remember one high danger scoring chance. But the fact of the matter is, the thing that he didn't do in his previous starts, he did last night. He made the saves that he needed to make. I think by far, if you take the last two periods against Ottawa, where he was 26 out of 27, I think, and you combine it with last night's effort against Calgary, do you think that Aiden Hill has righted the ship and is more, I guess you could say, solidified himself as the 1A, eliminating any sort of a controversy, even though Ilya Samsonov has more than carried the water when he was in net?
Yeah, I never really believed that there was a controversy, but I think.
Do you think it was brewing?
If Hill had continued to play the way he had, yes.
That's it. Yes.
I think yes, because Samsonov has played really, really well, and Hill, like I said last week, I don't think he played bad, but I think he hadn't played up to the level that he believes and we believe that he should be at.
Sure.
Something clicked for him in between the first and second period against Ottawa. That's a pain in the ass team. That's a team that has some talent. Hill let in a couple softies in that first period.
He did, and we were all shaking our heads. We're like,
here we
not
go
again.
But something clicked. Something changed. And in the last 5 periods of hockey, Aiden Hill has been at that Stanley Cup level. I don't give a shit that he only had to save 16 shots last night.
32 for 33 in the last 5 periods.
He saved all 16 shots.
Yep.
And one of the shots he saved.
Oh, I know where you're going. The
The
groin pull.
Well, it certainly looked like it could have been, but he got his skate blade in between his body and the post, and he kept the puck out. It was the best save he made of the night. He got up. I think he stretched a little bit, but he seemed okay after that. But there have been times where we've seen this team give up a goal in the final 2 minutes of a game that they're up 4-0 or something like that. And you're like, they just missed the shutout. I think there was a game last year where they gave up a goal with like 12 seconds to go. But I think Aiden maybe felt Samsonov coming. Like I believe
Right?
you have to feel that. You're not a competitor if you don't feel that the other guy is coming for your job.
Who
And I'm
said
sure-
who said pressure is a privilege?
Yeah, and listen, these two guys, I'm sure they have a good relationship. Both guys want to win. Samsonov is a guy who understands why he was brought in, but he's going to have his opportunities to play. I mean,
25 or 30 of them, probably.
he may play tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Well,
might.
maybe not. Maybe not. Hill coming off the shutout. Maybe not. Maybe he doesn't play tomorrow night. He may have a chance against the Utah Hockey Club. But
The struggling Utah Hockey Club.
yeah,
But yeah.
oof, oh boy. But I think we talk about the goalies, and I sit here every week and say I don't think they should save anything. I'm amazed that goalies save as many shots as they do. But Aiden Hill has played well the last 5 periods.
Yep. Agreed.
But this is the level that we expect of Aiden Hill. This is what he expects. This is what the franchise expects of him. He's a Stanley Cup winning goalie, and with that comes pressure. But Aiden Hill, he's a guy who does not break under pressure.
I want to finish up. You know, when you want to talk about something and you heard a really great phrase, and for the life of you, you're an old fuck like I am, and you can't remember. It was the last question of the night. It was Danny Webster, our friend from the Review Journal. What do they call Carlson?
The perfect player.
That's it.
It was Gary Lawless.
Okay.
Keegan Colasar.
Sorry, Gary.
Yep.
Gary
Keegan
Lawless
Colasar.
from the Vegas Golden Knight Insider said that someone had called William Karlsson.
Keegan Colasar in the walk-off interview.
Called him the perfect hockey player.
Right.
I want to close off on a high note. I don't know about the perfect hockey player, but in my opinion, and I should stop saying in my opinion since it's only you and I, he is, if not the singular reason that the team has now found its way and everybody's rowing the same way. When he slotted back in the lineup, all the puzzle pieces kind of moved, I think, to where Butchie wanted them to move into.
Right.
And the fact that he hit the ground running and had an assist on his first shift in the game, and he had as close to a free goal in the NHL as you'll possibly ever see,
Yeah.
That's not relevant. What's relevant is that when he came in there, all the other pieces of the lineup, and still there's one wing spot on the fourth line that Cole Schwint is attempting to make his own, and they moved him out of the center to the wing.
Mm-hmm.
He is so incredibly vital to every element of the Golden Knights game. He can score. He can defend. He can defend against the best defenders in the NHL. Plays on the power play second unit. Plays on the PK, sometimes the first or the second unit. He is the best, I'll say arguably one of the best 15 or 20 all-around players in the National Hockey League. I'll also say that you and I will probably be a very small contingent of people who say that because we know more than most people. Fuck you. Yes, we do. I'm sorry, but I said it and I'm standing by it. We know more about hockey than a lot of people. And insiders in the NHL, not unlike Gary Lawless, but around the league, understand the value of a William Karlsson, especially to this franchise. He's the guy whose contract is the best value. He does more of everything every night. And this is a shameless slurp, but it's true. I can't tell you how impressed I am. And for such a nice, humble guy who hates talking to us, he just goes out and he does his job. How impressed are you with how much he brings every single night, every single year, and how much different do you think the Golden Knights are now that they are as close to set up front as we've seen them?
Well, it really makes you wonder how two teams missed on him, because he was with the Ducks, and clearly they have no idea what the hell they had in him. And then he went to Columbus, and clearly they had no idea what the hell. He was another guy buried on the fourth fucking line. John Tortorella, I remember, I'll never forget the first trip the Blue Jackets took to T-Mobile Arena. I sat in John Tortorella's press conference, and he was asked about William Karlsson. He's like, basically, well, I don't know where the hell this came from. Well, somebody missed in two spots. William Karlsson And I don't know. I think he would probably have to score a few more goals, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that if he wins another Stanley Cup, that his number's hanging from the rafters. I think
A few more goals. He had 30 last year.
No, but I think you have to.
Oh, you mean the sum at the end of his career? He needs to score
yes.
more. Okay.
Like I think you have to be, and he's not far from Marchessault.
No,
But I think when he retires, he should catch
him. If not late this year, maybe next.
Well, let's see, because Carlson for the Golden Knights, he has a career total of 153 goals.
Oh, he's got a ways to go
with the Golden Knights. Marchessault is up there pretty good.
Yeah, he's going to need 2 or 3 seasons to catch him. 2 or 3 seasons at 25 or 30.
But he's got that. He's Marchessault has 192. He's
Really?
only 39 goals away.
So next year,
William Karlsson could conceivably have 200 goals with this organization. It's not out of the realm of possibility that he has 200 goals. But the point I'm making is William Karlsson is a fucking great hockey player. Like, he does everything the way you want it to be done. He's very coachable. He's got tremendous offensive skills. He plays a 200-foot game. You kind of notice there's a theme here. 200-foot game. William Karlsson is the original 200-foot guy with this organization. And what he does is he makes everyone around him better. Eichel does it. William Karlsson does it. Mark Stone does it. There's not a lot of guys in the league who you could put out there with any player, and that William Karlsson is going to, or that that player is going to make the other guys around him better. Tanner Pearson's going to be a better player playing alongside William Karlsson. We've already seen, I think, a little bit more offense from Alexander Holtz's game since he's been paired up with William Karlsson.
How about 4 points in 4 games?
Yeah. And the assist he had last night on the Pietrangelo goal was
professional.
Yes.
It was a professional hockey play.
Yes. And I think while Holtz ultimately has to make that play, the play that Karlsson makes to get Holtz the puck is what he wins the wall. He wins the puck behind the boards. He finds Holtz, center of the ice. Holtz then finds Pietrangelo. Great pass. Boom. 1-0. Never looking back. But
game-winning goal.
Yeah. But William Karlsson has the confidence that he believes that he can go out there and make any play. And when William Karlsson is confident, he is maybe the second or third best player on this team. And when you factor in the leadership, he's a quiet leader, but when that team won the Stanley Cup, you know what fucking song we heard every time we walked into the locker room?
Oh, for God's sake.
It was his song.
Yeah, it was.
So
no denying that.
So that tells you the fingerprints that he leaves on this organization, the thumbprint. They didn't build the team around him, but they can build any line they want around him because he's the guy who makes everything click.
And that's it. We're finishing. That's the final point. We're still tracking ahead of our hour time limit. Let's shamelessly plug some ticket giveaways. Let's thank our sponsor, the Las Vegas Advisor, www.lasvegasadvisor.com. My good friend, Dr. John Pierce, agelessforever.net, and the contributing sponsor for this Saturday night, November 2nd, 7 p.m. 2 tickets, Section 13. Go ahead, kids. Look at your roadmap of the T-Mobile Arena. Section 13 is at the end where the Golden Knights shoot twice, and the tickets are just above the tunnel. They're fantastic seats. They happen to be Dr. Pierce's season tickets, but because he decided to get married on home game night and he asked me to officiate his wedding, Not sure what he was thinking about when he did that bad boy, but there will be highlights in the next episode. 2 tickets.
Uh-oh.
2 passes to the Goose Island Buffet, Saturday night, 7 o'clock puck drop, the Utah Hockey Club. Tickets courtesy of Dr. John Pierce at Ageless Forever. And the second ticket giveaway, Chap, that's your plug.
Yeah, Marathon Law Group, they are giving 2 tickets to the Carolina Hurricanes game on November the 11th. And these are Joe Riccio's season tickets. So he's personally giving 2 tickets of his away. You get free parking. And that's courtesy of Marathon Law Group. The golden giveaway, by the way, 4.8 review or percentage review on Yelp. So you know you're not dealing with some bullshit law firm where they're just spending tons and tons of money on advertising. This guy he's personal. He will meet with you. They handle a whole variety of legal issues. I met him through divorce and family law. He did a phenomenal job for me, really helped me out, gave me a plan going forward. So again, November the 11th, it's the Carolina Hurricanes. William Carrier returns to the Fortress. Those tickets courtesy of Joe Riccio and Marathon Law Group.
That's good. That's it. Home Cooking, episode 85 is in the books. We'll be back next week after the Kings and Utah Hockey Club game. You got to win the tickets. There's only one way. Find us on the YouTube channel, subscribe, like one of the episodes. Doesn't really matter which episode. Like them all. That'd make us really popular.
Yeah.
But most importantly, somewhere we have to see that you comment the word tickets. The drawing for this game will be Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock. We have one more episode before the giveaway on the 11th. We'll let you know when that deadline is. There ain't no podcast in town giving you away lower bowl tickets to the Vegas Golden Knights, kids. This is where you want to be. I'm Eddie Rivkin. That's Chris Chapman. Episode 85, Home Cooking, is in the books. We're out of here.